Nande, he says, what program has the administration got that will engage the youths in terms of job creation, basically? I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I think no doubt about it, the number one issue for youth and in this country today is employment, job creation. And like I have pointed out, I quoted a report, the Next Generation report, and some CBN report putting the youth unemployment rate in Nigeria to over 40%. And unfortunately, the majority of the young people in that category haven't gone beyond secondary education. That makes it even more complex. I mean, we talk about graduate unemployment, but graduate unemployment is actually small when you put it in the context of overall youth employment in the country. So the number one problem this country has today is how to create jobs for the young people. But the point is, and I can tell you here, the entire federal government, it's solidly focused on this. Only last week I can tell you the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria announced to all of us that henceforth no contract will be awarded, no certificate will be issued for any contract to be awarded unless the ministry or the agency proposing to award that contract is able to show how many jobs will be created in the process. And I think that is a very strong statement of commitment by the President of Nigeria.
How do they intend to track it? What if someone comes with fake, well, I will create this, and this. How are they going to monitor and ensure that it's the truth? No,
the point is, because you see the way the finances of government is managed is such that you can't say you want to award a contract for a road for 2 billion and you are given 2 billion. No, right? There are processes, and at every stage it's been verified. So the agency responsible, and very, very strong man on top of that agency, the agency responsible, for this will ensure that if it's going to do its job, part of checking that the job is completed up to the point that money has been allocated will also to report that jobs have been created. So if any agency or any individual to report to the contrary to what happened, then that would be an offense. Right, and that's a different thing entirely. But don't let us start by assuming that people will want to get around it, because we are not talking of something that is impossible.
Okay, you've talked about obviously there are plans for the youth.
Yeah.
Now this is one story that the Nigerian youth have heard over and over again.
Yeah.
They have plans to develop the youth, create jobs, moving away from here. But you as a minister, what specific vision do you have? Because Minister of Youth Development, what specific vision do you have for the Nigerian youth?
Thank you very much. You see, and I'm glad you're giving me opportunity to answer this question. It must go back to the question of what is the role of the Ministry of Youth Development? The role of the Ministry of Youth Development is that of the Ministry of Women Affairs. Right? These are two ministries that focus on particular demographic group. As a Ministry of Youth Development, the number one responsibility of that ministry is to continue to seek opportunities to mainstream issues that concern youth.
But sorry to interrupt you here. While you're mainstreaming issues that are concerning youth, are you even bothering to find out from the youth what their issues are, or you're just assuming from the secretariat? You just sit down in the secretariat and assume that, okay, these are the issues of the youth.
Well, it may interest you to know that my office is in Abuja, and I'm not in Lagos because, I'm sorry to disappoint you, I'm not in Lagos because you have invited me to appear on Sunrise. I'm in Lagos because I've come to meet with youth-focused NGOs, young people doing things on the development of youths. And my argument, my perspective is always that you cannot do things for young people. You can do things with them. You can provide leadership to enable them to find solutions to their own problem. And that is what calls for the kind of engagement that we're trying to create. You see, I understand that we are coming from a huge liability of past non-performance, and everyone is cynical. When you say a government person says, I'm going to do this, we've had that before. When someone says, oh, we have this plan, they say, what plan? Yes, what do you understand my point? Everybody is impatient because we've been failed repeatedly. So I can understand perfectly. But what I keep saying, like the president said, is, look, judge me after 1 year. You've just given me a mandate. That's what the president said. You've just given me a mandate. And it's a 4-year term. So don't start by saying that, oh, you are not going to do anything because past people have not done anything. They said, give me 1 year. Right? So, sorry, I would like to answer that question about what is my vision. Right? I would like us to go back to that. You see, there's a way the ministry that I heard used to operate that I think can be done differently, right? And my argument is that the Ministry of Youth Development is first and foremost a facilitating ministry, right? Last year, the federal government commissioned set up a committee, the Dangote Committee, on the National Committee on Job Creation, and 5 key growth sectors were identified for the economy. One of them is agriculture, another is infrastructure, another is entertainment, sports, and ICT, right? Now, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. People who are eminently qualified, people who are a lot more knowledgeable about the issue of job creation have done this work. Now, I've seen this report, and 5 key growth sectors have been identified. Now, my responsibility, if ICT is identified as a key growth sector, now my responsibility is to work with the ICT minister to ensure that there is a youth platform created in the ICT sector to provide jobs for young people. Do you get the point I'm making? Because you may think this is not important, but I'll tell you how it's important. If you talk about job creation, generally, there is a huge tendency that you miss the reality of youth unemployment. Because unemployment, generally, is different from youth unemployment. Because the barriers to unemployment, generally, is not the same thing as barriers to youth employment. If the Minister of Trade, for example, just a second, if the Minister of Trade, for example, is saying, I want to encourage investment in a way that will create jobs, I want to give incentives for people to establish business and create jobs. Now, the question I will be asking is, sir, how do you ensure that these incentives include things that will enable businesses to employ first-time workers?
Without experience.
Without experience. You get the point.